I did a story this week saying that Harry would never leave Meghan,
No.
but obviously they've gone through, they've had between them. There's been a lot of sacrifices.
I think that they are dependent on each other, though.
Yeah,
totally. Well, that's what you said, Jack.
Yeah, I agree.
So we are in total agreement. They are very dependent on each other.
There was this story that Meghan, had her people approach someone about a divorce book. But I mean, imagine if Meghan left Harry, it would destroy her reputation. She would be eviscerated publicly because she's already slipped into this kind of category on social media. The way that pop culture commentators talk about her, they lump her in with Amber Heard. They lump her in with, these other famous women who are perceived as, being narcissistic or, being controlling of their husbands. Alec Baldwin's wife got this treatment the other day. Blake Lively as well. So if she walked out on Harry, she would never reputationally survive it. But then Harry, without Meghan, what's his life in America going to be like?
Well, he wouldn't leave the children, you see. And in America, the rules about, children, they're always with the mother, nearly always.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so it's not going to happen. So do you remember everyone, when they got married, a lot of members actually of the royal family even said it won't last 5 years. But it has.
It has.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
lasted 7.
Yeah.
Through a lot of crises, through a lot of,
huge pressure.
You talk about some strategic errors. I mean, that would be a major strategic error on Meghan's behalf, basically, if we looked at it strategically.
Yeah, and obviously you can't just look at your marriage strategically because, you live it daily. But strategically, it would be a catastrophic mistake.
Interesting.
And I think, I think she does need Harry, I think she does. And she must know by now that she doesn't get everything right.
Yeah, so we're behaviour experts, we're marriage experts.
But without Harry,
we're allowed to.
She is nothing.
She's nothing. And without her, Harry's life in America is nothing.
Yes, exactly.
He has a reputation to fall back on.
So they have a symbiotic relationship.
Yeah, they need each other.
Yeah.
4 years, Meghan Markle has been shaping her own story, a woman who defied the crown, chased independence, and claimed control of her narrative. But now, one question looms large: what would happen if she ever walked away from Prince Harry? The answer is simple: it would destroy everything she's built. Let's be honest, Meghan's global identity is tied to Harry. Her fame, her influence, and even her business ventures exist because of the royal connection. Without him, she's not the Duchess, she's another celebrity fighting for relevance in an already crowded Hollywood space. And that's the trap she can't escape. Every move they've made, from Netflix to Spotify, from interviews to PR campaigns, has relied on the Sussex brand. A brand built on shared struggle, shared rebellion, shared love against the establishment. If Meghan were to leave Harry, that entire foundation crumbles overnight. It's not just a breakup, it's a collapse of the very image she spent years crafting. And the public reaction? It would be brutal. Critics who already question her motives would pounce. She'd be accused of using Harry for status and abandoning him once his value to her brand faded. The sympathy she once commanded would vanish, replaced by outrage, especially from royal loyalists who've waited years for her downfall. But here's the irony: Meghan's survival depends on maintaining the illusion of unity. Even when things appear strained, she can't afford to look like the one walking away, because in the eyes of the world, that would confirm every accusation ever made against her: manipulative, calculating, self-serving. And that's the image she's spent millions trying to erase. Meanwhile, Harry's situation isn't much better. He's tethered to Meghan's influence, yet haunted by the life he left behind. Together, they project strength, but apart, they'd be exposed. It's a partnership of mutual dependence, not necessarily shared peace. So no, Meghan won't walk away, not because of love alone, but because she can't afford to. Her power, her fame, her platform, they all exist within the shadow of Harry and Meghan. And if that shadow fades, so does she.
Now, one thing Meghan does do without Harry is her podcast.
Yeah.
And I'm open that I rarely listen to it. I know we spoke the other day, Jack, and I said, have you been listening to the podcast? And me and you were kind of, we listen to it on high speed, or that, we do pay attention to it, but we're probably not the target audience. It's the penultimate episode that's just occurred this week. Is it succeeding? Enough people watching it? Is it working for Meghan?
So one big question here is, what did she expect it to be? Does she need it to be top 10? It's not top 10. It has, the first episode or two, when we were all writing loads of news lines off the back of it, that got into the top 10. It very quickly dropped out again. It's now not even in the top 200 on Apple. It is in the top 100 business podcasts, somewhere in the 60s. So it's not hugely well listened to.
But the publicity around it is amazing.
Well, not so much anymore. I think, as I say, I think the journalists are kind of
Every
turning off.
day people are writing about it. I mean, I'm out of the news world, and I promise you, and people never stop writing, and I look at it and I think, well, Netflix or the podcast or Meghan must be delighted. She may not have the hits of people watching it, but gosh, she's had some amazing publicity.
So does it serve the purpose that it gives deeper insights into her life rather than this idea of being an entrepreneur? She often throws little nuggets on. I think this week she was talking about how having children was not how she envisioned it. Is that the idea that she's giving a little glimpse into Montecito?
Yeah, I think the comment about the children where she was saying like she thought before she had Archie that she was going to like have him on her hip while she was giving speeches as a royal, so she would be like, you know, going to a royal event and Archie would be with her, which obviously never happened. So that was what she was saying. She, you know, the life of parenting was not what she envisaged.
But she only had to look at other royal mothers to know that
it's not possible.
It's a no-go, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just not
How
possible.
lovely it would be, but it's a no-go. You can't.
Yeah.
Have the kid on your hip and be giving speeches in the royal world. You can't in any world, really.
No, but I think the podcast is most interesting when she gives details about her life, certainly to us, but like I'm not the founder of a business. You know, maybe if I was the founder of the business, I would be more interested in that side of things. I think, though, it's quite a niche world. Like business podcasts, there are a lot of them. A lot of them are about investing for the very simple reason that anyone can do it. You have to have some money. You know, obviously you can't invest if you don't have any money, but as long as you do, it's relatively straightforward and people need advice, like they need specific concrete advice about how to invest. So that's why a lot of business shows focus on that.
So it's not actually Meghan's, what you're saying, Jack, is that Meghan's podcast isn't actually really giving us any kind of advice.
I think that it's a niche audience of people who are founder, you would have to be a woman who was the founder of a new business. So if you are a female founder of a business, but you did it 10 years ago and you're up and running, like you're not necessarily going to get that concrete advice. But I also think it's quite sparse on advice anyway. Yeah. And I think what Meghan needs to do really is I think these shows that she's been doing that are about her shining as a personality are putting too much pressure on her when actually there's been a big backlash against her. And she needs to start doing things that are inherently interesting rather than trying to do these shows that are basically pitching her friendships and her relationships with, you know, because all the guests have been her friends.
Whereas they've been light on interesting friends, this one. Remember, Archetypes had some bigger names, like Paris Hilton and all sorts
had
of
big
people
famous
names.
people.
This time,
well, we haven't heard of them here,
leaders.
have we, necessarily?
I don't think many people have heard of many of them.
I don't think
I think you're
Kitch is
being
a
very
big
fair. I think you're actually putting across a really good argument for her. Not being behind.
Jack always does. He gets in trouble for it.
Yeah.
No, but you mentioned about the businesses there. I think one thing, do you notice this week that the Prince of Wales and the Princess of Wales were named in Time magazine? It's a very influential list. They were innovators of, now this is a difficult word, of philanthropy, modernising royal philanthropy. Now, this is, I think, in recognition of all the work they're doing with, William's been doing with homelessness through Homewards. Catherine, I've been to so many events where she's launched something new about Shaping Us or her Royal Foundation. There's so much going on there. They're working with loads of businesses from NatWest to Deloitte to Co-op to the sandwich firm Pret a Manger. They're doing lots behind the scene that doesn't really get that much coverage, but they won this. They've been named as innovators and also modernising the way that royals work. This is probably an award that Archwell or the Sussexes maybe would have dreamed of.
But the thing about what that William and... sorry, was it his go?
No, go for it.
That they're doing, I think, is they're looking long-term, rather than immediate cheers, you've done this, you've done that. This is long-term. So I think that Kate's childhood, you know, the first 5 years, is absolutely brilliant. But it's long-term. Earthshot is long-term. The homelessness, sadly, is long-term. So they're not looking for the immediate kick. They're looking sort of forward into the future about what they can do. And I think that's really admirable, which is probably why it doesn't get that much publicity.
So there's a long-term strategy that you
Yes.
can see. You know, we know how long Earthshot is, we know how long Homewards is, we know that Shaping Us and the work with the under-5s is basically her lifelong. It's going to last all her life. It's a golden thread through all her work. Whereas the Sussexes, and we always compare them, whereas the Sussexes seem to be jumping around from different ideas, and you can't pin down specifically what they are doing philanthropically.
I could only think of the Invictus Games. And most people say that when you think of the Sussexes, you think of Harry's Invictus Games. I can't think of anything that Meghan has done or is going to do. So
I think William and Kate are being very ambitious with their projects. It's, absolutely agree with you on the long-term strategy, but also, ending homelessness is hugely ambitious. Finding projects to help stop climate change, hugely ambitious. They're trying to tackle the big questions of our time in a way that strays quite close to politics, really.